Welcome back. Now, whether it's the political situation in the country, unemployment, corruption, the killings, violent service delivery protests, high levels of teenage pregnancy, or sexual violence, and that list, of course, is endless, South Africa is plagued by many social ills. And as an organization tasked with actually dealing with the socio-economic culture challenges, the Moral Regeneration Movement has to work with communities and institutions to capacitate them in dealing with issues of development, of social inequality, of education, of culture, and also other concerns. And now Chaka, who is the General Secretary of the Moral Regeneration Movement, is joining us now here in our studio. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you very much.
So Neo, first and foremost, let's just start by giving that definition again. The Moral Regeneration Movement, yes. What actually does it stand for?
Moral Regeneration Movement, it dates back to when Madiba made a call for the RDP of the soul, where he really said that there is something that within our soul we need to reconstruct, because we cannot move from a premises that as a nation or as Africans, we are people that don't have morals. So that is why we have the moral regeneration, which talks to taking back our morals to the state where they were before.
But people will often argue that morality is subjective. Whose morals are we talking about, and why should we espouse to those sets of morals?
Yes. That is why, as the Moral Regeneration Movement, as early as 2005, there was that kind of a discussion to say, when we talk about a set of values, whose values are we talking about? When you talk to Christians, they will take you to the Bible. When you talk to Muslims, they will talk about the Quran. That is why, as the Moral Regeneration, we then developed what we call the Charter of Positive Values, which is derived from our Constitution, because our Constitution, it's what makes South Africa what it is today, and what makes us who we are. To then say, if we follow these 9 set of values, we will see, or we will live in a country that has a high moral fiber.
Remind us, what are those?
The first value in the Charter of Positive Values talks to respecting human dignity and equality as well. And you find it very interesting that in every religion, in every culture, you are first taught that you must see a human being from what they are, from them as a human being, which talks a lot to what our country is going through right now, the gruesome murder and the killings of women and children and so on, which means that there is a stage where in our country we have not really seen women as human beings and therefore being equal to us. The other values talk to protection of the environment, it talks to the promotion of law and the freedom of expression as well, and there's one that talks to caring and showing concern for all people and enhancing sound and family values.
And of course, there is a great sense of despondency in the country at the moment. Mentioning some of the things you just did in your previous response, the gruesome murders that we see, and apart from that, also just conspicuous consumption of not just material goods, but also of illicit goods, and the list goes on, as we said earlier on. So what does that mean about the Moral Regeneration Movement and the task that you have been handed? Does it mean that you have not been effective in performing those tasks?
Definitely, because when you look at the nature of the work that we do, we always make this example, that when you talk to the police, they will tell you that we have arrested so many people. And that's how they measure the work that they are doing. But as for the MRM, we are dealing mainly with the space of changing people's mindsets. So we're dealing mainly with the internal or changing the internal behavior of a human person, of a human being. So that is why when you want to measure the work that we've done, or when you want to measure the success that we've done, you would need to then look into issues of how have we as a nation, how are we treating each other, how are we treating people that are not from high standards or that are not from rich families and so on. So you find that you use a different tool and a different mechanism in evaluating or monitoring the work that we have done.
But where is the Moral Regeneration Movement? The visibility is lacking, and I am not South Africa, yes. But I can say that I haven't seen you. I don't know where you are. Where do you operate?
Yes. With the Moral Regeneration Movement, maybe we need to get out there into the media and more. But what we are doing at the moment, and fortunately I was reminding one of the producers that in 2016 when we launched the Charter of Election Ethics, morning live, broadcast live from the launch, which was at the Constitutional Hill. Last year on the 23rd of June, we launched a sustainable campaign towards this femicide that we see in our community and in our country, where we go to different communities and we say to them, let us have a discussion, let us talk about this, because we say it is good and well that we have marches, we have a huge outcry about this, but there must be sustainable programs that follow that. We also, this year, as we are celebrating the centenary of our late former president Nelson Mandela and of Mama Albertina Sisulu, we are having different dialogues and conversations in communities to then say to ourselves and our communities, who was Mandela to us? What did he mean to us? What are the values that he lived by? And how can we take those values further? So there's a lot of work that we are doing, and obviously we need to ensure that the media is there and we put it out there and everybody knows about it.
And I know Ndate Sem Ditseho, who sends us a tweet every morning, will have a response to that. But of course, we will, of course, then take a look at more of these questions at a later stage.
Exactly.
But I tell you what, thanks so much for stopping by, for reminding us that there is a moral regeneration movement, and it's something that we should be paying attention to. But we're going to leave it there for now. Neo, Chaka, thanks so much for stepping by.
Thank you very much.
Well, of course, we're going to go to a short ad break, and when we come back, well, look at the time. Yeah, it's almost that time to say goodbye after this.